recording. I'm starting the recording. I will be in a second starting the music. The background for African Tai Chi. Today's African Tai Chi is involving COVID-19. We're doing breathing exercises and the Tai Chi movements. We're discussing that address the lung meridian. We want to do that. I wanted to just share this. These earrings have not only the map of Africa, but the countries. And so I like those because we need to know the names of some African countries. Excuse my back. I recall teaching a class once, and some of my students were senior citizens, and that was the entire community where I worked at that time, in a seniors community building. And I was by far no senior citizen. So my students thought that Africa was a country and wanted to know how they could create an African flag, which I think they really meant the black American flag, the red, black, yellow, green, and blue flag. Black flag, red, yellow, yellow, green, black flag. So I had a little interest there when that happened. Back when I was not a senior, so that was some time ago, that I wanted to make sure we learned the countries, and I'm still working on. Recently, I just found out that some of my ancestors are from Angola, on this side of the continent, and then some of my ancestors are from, let's see this region, right over here, and I visited this region, and my daughter, ironically, has visited this region. This is Zambia, which she was. Our ancestors are actually from Angola. You see, I'm vertically challenged with the reverse reflection. Okay, so let me start the music. And background music. The area that we want to address, we want to make sure that we are strengthening our immune system. Building our immune system is important. So when we're doing this movement, this first warm-up, we are actually addressing the lung meridian. This is stimulating the chi. The fists are clenched, and as we stimulate the chi, we want to move up and down our body for the warm-up movement. We're going to be doing this movement up and down across the back as well. And then we stop and go to the side, under the armpit, where we talked about stimulating the lymph nodes. And this helps with cystic fibrosis, breast cancer. Lots of people have issues with the lymph node area. So this is stimulating the lymph node area daily. If you have issues with that, would be a suggested amount of stimulating and doing the Tai Chi movement throughout, not just the warm-up. So the warm-up is stimulating the chi back across the forearm. And then I spend a little time in this area, this little shoulder area, because that's one of my knees. I'm going to spend some time in this area stimulating the lymph nodes. So we go to the right side. I started with my left side because my left side is almost a challenged area. This is the spending as much time as you can in this area. Excuse me while I skip the chi in this area is important. So then we're going to go down the side, all across through the upper body, across the shoulder, down the forearm, and up the back arm. And excuse me if I get the forearm in the back and the left and the right a little bit off. As I said, a little horizontal challenge. Thank you. See, I just wanted to say my dad is watching over us. My dad, medallion from Tuskegee Alumni Association activities. My dad is an ancestor, so I appreciate his spirit presence. We have our roots from the tree of life hanging above. These effects around you when you're doing Tai Chi are important. The area where I am is looking out into the woods and the tree area, the treed area of the community where I am. So we're taking our clenched fist just up and down the body. Taking that movement a second time. And we're going to go into the stance with our back arched and your fist clenched. You're going to be tapping lightly on the kidney meridian. The kidney meridian stimulates, of course, the kidney. And then we're going down the sides of our legs and back up. And I didn't angle the camera for the lower part because we're focusing primarily on the lung meridian, the upper body. This part where we're just dropping on this clenched and we're just rotating up and down. Not too much stimulation on the part which underneath our lip, so just dropping down, coming back up. In slight motion. Slow movements with Tai Chi are always in order. Then we're going to be pressing that energy out and moving to the next warm-up. This next warm-up is rotating the major joints. Rotating the major joints will begin with our head movement. Rotating 3 times to the right, and 3 times to the left. We're going to be placing our hands on waist and then rotating the waist 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. You might notice that these movements have not changed, but the major point of this is to inform what these movements address and what the benefits are for COVID-19 for the lung meridian. We're going to the knee. So we're going to massage the kneecap area. We're massaging that out. And then we want our hands on our knees, and we're just going to rotate out and rotate back in. Just spreading open the knees 3 times in and 3 times out. And then the last rotating of the major joints will be our ankles. So your toe is on the ground, your right foot, if you are able to balance, you don't have to touch the ground. 1, 2, 3 times to the right, rotating that ankle. 1, 2, 3 times to the left. Flex and point and shake that out. Go to the left side and rotate 1, 2, 3 times to the right. 1, 2, 3 times to the left. Point, flex, and shake that out. If you can't see that portion, you might want to visit one of the earlier videos. We'll show you the exact movements in the full video. This movement is stimulating the spine, and we're taking our arms and just raising them above our heads and drop down. And you're pushing your body weight so that you're up on your toes. You go up on your toes and then back down. So you're not jumping, just raising your heels off the ground. This next movement is warm up. You'll be in a horse stance. In the next warm up, we're going to be stimulating the. I'm trying to wait because I know we got instructions with the ads. I'm going to just wait on that. So our next movement is when we are just going to be standing in place. We're going to be bouncing, just bouncing in place for 5 minutes. This is the most important warm-up. Sometimes I use my weights in my hands to give me more momentum. If you don't have to use the weights, just bounce it. Don't bounce be careful not to bounce from the knees, but bouncing is from the waist and the ankles in order not to damage your knee cartilage. I always give that warning because that was my issue when I started Tai Chi back in about 2011. I had been doing Tai Chi for some time before I realized I was bouncing too much, too hard from the knees, so you want to be careful about that. I'm going to probably pause and go ahead and go back into the next movement. But for 5 minutes, doing this motion, you'll stimulate the entire body, focusing on meditating for 5 minutes. So again, this is the most important warm-up. You don't do the other warm-ups. This is the most beneficial part of the warm-up. So for 5 minutes, I'll be bouncing, and then I will go into the first Tai Chi movement, the actual Tai Chi movement. When you're doing Tai Chi, the tongue is always at the roof of the mouth. That closes off the energy circuits. You're building energy as we do these movements, gathering the chi, closing off the energy circuit, the tongue at the roof of the mouth, and at times closing up the spine with this part of your fingers. Looks like a Sankofa feet. And you'll take this and close off the spine in some movements. But just to create a circuit, we do have some ads that are interrupting. So you'll have to forgive us this time. This is the movement that we're doing, and I was talking about configurations for energy circuits. I will talk about those in other videos. I just wanted to mention that the configurations based on the numbers of locations and the counting is important for the configuration. Alright, so we're going to pause now and then go ahead and we'll start. Alright, so some of the Tai Chi videos are, the African Tai Chi videos are instructional, and I believe that 1 out of 2 are simply the movements just going through the entire Tai Chi movements. So you can take time to look at the instructional ones. Today's video is just about addressing the lung meridian and discussing what movements help with the breathing and lung chi. So we're going to do the first Tai Chi movement with that. We're going to start with our left. So we're going to take the right hand and form the Sankofa beat, placing it at the back of the spine.
One of the driving forces of racism.
We're going to make sure that we close off the spine area. One of the things that I want to do is try to get the background, the music that's African centered. We wanted to have the kinds of music that actually involve, I would say, more in the vein of a meditation kind of music, relaxing. It doesn't have to be African, but the music should be, as much as it can be, meditation. We'll try doing it with this music now, and hopefully no more bad interruptions. I think it's a little faint. That's why I was using the other one, but we'll try and hopefully you'll hear it well enough. Alright, so I have my hand at the base of my spine. I'm going to be stepping out on the right foot and moving the energy from the heavens, drawing energy in, and we're rocking out and in on our left foot. Left foot is out, back and forth. I want to do that 5 times. This movement brings the energy into the lung meridian. It brings the energy into the meridian, the energy center that addresses the lung area. So you want to do this for increasing lung ability to breathe, strengthening the lung power, lung chi. So that was supposedly just 5 times, but I wanted to show that movement, rocking back and forth. We're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th time, we'll be bringing our hands out into cloud hands, the way you would be holding a pillow of cloud between the palms of your hands. And moving across the middle energy center, the lung meridian. This is equivalent to giving your lungs an internal massage. We're doing this 11 times, rotating the pillow of cloud cloud hands rotate back and forth across the middle energy center or the lung meridian, the middle of your body, 11 times. And again, that number is important. That configuration sets the energy cycle for the Tai Chi movements. So we'll be counting with our tongue at the roof of our mouth to close off the energy center. I won't be using my tongue at the roof of the mouth while I'm giving instruction, but of course you will hold your tongue at the roof of your mouth. It's very important to have that circuit intact. So you see the cloud hands movement across the center of the body. That's the lung meridian massage movement. Internal massages are the basis for Tai Chi movements. Internally massaging the body. Most of us have knowledge of how beneficial massaging is. And we go for our massages on a regular basis and happily get our relaxed massages. And those are super beneficial. Massaging the internal portion of your body is as important. You want to do these 11 times across the body. I'm still doing the movement just to show how that massaging action happens. You can think in your mind, you can picture how your lungs are just getting that massage. And holding the cloud hands is equivalent to the air. Holding that cloud in between your hands, that energy cloud, that's the air. And then if you probably can imagine your lungs between those palms of your hands, you're massaging your lungs. And of course, your lung meridian is not between your hands. Your lungs actually, your lung meridian is between your hands, but your lungs are actually not. But if you imagine the movement, feel how this movement is massaging your lungs. You feel that breathing ease. You feel it. I might have done this maybe at this moment, say 30 times across. And the more I do it, the more I'm feeling that lung massage, that energy helping my lungs to breathe. It's a simple movement, and it's not taxing or stressful at all. It is, in fact, relaxing movement. My feet are shoulder width apart. I'm in a horse stance, and that's given in the instructional videos. You have the lung meridian massaging, and you go move back and forth. So that's the first Tai Chi movement that we call looking at Sankofa through the eye of Horus. When we look at Sankofa, we look through the hole that the fingers make and look through the eye. And it also strengthens the eye meridian, this movement. This Tai Chi movement, the whole movement is about the middle energy center, and the lung meridian is involved in that. So we're doing several things with this movement. We're strengthening the eye meridian, and then we're strengthening the lung meridian. I'm going to continue with that movement with the 5 times back, putting my hand behind my back, I was demonstrating the movement and the massage effects of that movement. And now I'm going to go into the movement, stepping out on the left again. And we're doing 5 times from the heavens, 5 times from the earth, and then 11 Tai Chi movements with cloud hands across the middle energy center. So here we go. Stepping out on the left, pulling the energy in 5 times from the heavens. Tongue is at the roof of the mouth. Mm-hmm. 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 5 times from the earth. Mm-hmm. 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 And then the 5th time, you want to bring your hands up. You notice I interrupted my own video, but at least it's not a commercial. 11 times across. We're going to be doing cloud hands 2, 11 times. 3, 4, thumbs up to the mouth. 5, 6, 7, slow movements. 8, 9. As you turn your hands this way, you're creating an energy circuit with between your hands, the cloud hands, and it does. You do feel that warm energy that you're actually creating. Moving your hands back and forth like this is stirring up energy. I know you all know about kinetic energy and how when you rub your hands across a surface, you create energy. You see the static? Well, you'll feel that kind of energy between the cloud hands. Pay attention. It's a warm air feeling, a warm energy feeling between your hands. And I've gone more than 11 because I stopped counting, and now I'm back doing instruction again. I wanted to just kind of wait until that music starts again without the discussion part of the video that I'm doing. Okay. So we're going to be sweeping across the body, down across the bottom, across the ground, and then back crossing cloud hands 1 time on the 11th count. And then sweeping again across the body, across the ground, and then 2 times. And the back into cloud hands and back across. And then 3rd time, we're going to be sweeping across 1, 2, 3 times across the ground. And then on the 3rd time, you want your fingers to be in the same Sankofa beat. And placing your hand again behind, closing up the spine, and just dipping the energy from the ground, just like a big dipper, like turning a dipper. So you want to do 3 times with a circular motion, holding the beak to the ground. Just 1, 2, 3 times, and then bringing the energy up to the middle and dipping it, turning the big dipper, it's called. As we look through the hole that the fingers make, we're looking at Sankofa, through the eye of Horus. Looking at the eye of Horus, looking through the hole that the fingers make, you want to go all the way around back. Keeping your hand, your right hand on my spinal cord, closing off the spinal cord to create the circuit between your tongue, which is at the roof of your mouth. I'm going to flip that energy one time again. I'm going to do this 3 times, looking back around. This is stimulating the lung meridian. Every time you go around and back, you're stimulating the lung meridian. Looking through the hole helps stimulate the eye meridian. You pull your energy around and exercise that lung area as you do this movement. 3 times. That's all we do. To that side. Bring the energy down. Clear the chakras. And then we go to the left or to the right side. Again, I do my left side first. And then go to my right side. You don't have to do it in that order. So closing up the spine on the left hand. We're going to be stepping out on the right. Stepping out on the right and drawing the energy from the heaven side. 1, 2, 3. Notice I'm watching the movement with my hand. 4, 5, and then 5 times from the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as we do those movements from the ground back into cloud hands, when we do the movements, we feel the energy massaging the lung meridian again. Stretching that lung area, bringing those lungs into focus with the energy that we create, that we build throughout the Tai Chi movement. Looking at the cloud hands, again, stimulates the eye meridian, and it stimulates the lung meridian. Looking at the cloud hands also helps you to associate the level of where our cloud hands are. We should be looking through the cloud, looking between the cloud hands. 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My breathing is so even and easy. 8 and 9. 10. And on the 11th time, you're going to be dipping, sweeping the energy across the floor and back into cloud hands. Breathing becomes more easy as you do this movement. And you can feel the strengthening of your lungs when you go down and do the sweeping motion as well. Pulling the hands back into cloud hands. And then sweeping across the body 2 times for the last 2, 3. And then you want to stir that energy up with the feet, center of the feet. Pulling it up through the center, flipping, and then looking at Sankofa through the eye of Horus. As you turn back around, stimulate the eye meridian and the lung massage happens. Turning the beat, turning the feet helps massage again. Looking through the eye of Horus. Back around, go back to the middle energy, center to the, back to the center. And for the last time, looking through the Horus, stimulating that lung meridian as you turn back around. You're stretching that lung out, stretching your lungs out, stretching those lungs out to empower your lung meridian. And we're clearing the chakra for the next movement. So our next movement will be drawing the bow. And drawing the bow is a very key lung stimulant movement. So we're going to be sweeping the energy across through the middle energy center, through the lung meridian, 3 times. 1, 2, and that was the 3rd time. And we draw back on your bow. And as you draw back, you're going to look at the finger. That index finger stimulates the intestinal area. So you look at that middle that index finger, or you pull back on your bow, holding it for a second, and as well, you want to make sure that you understand the energy that you're pulling back on the bow is stimulating the lung again, the lung meridian. So pulling back on the next, on the right side, do the same thing 3 times to stop. Looking at that index finger, as you pull back, stimulating and drawing the bow, stimulating the lungs. 1, 2, 3, and pull back. And as you stimulate the energy, you pull 3 times across, generating the energy rather. You will also are giving your lungs a back, the energy back. So 2 times to that side, and then on the right side for the 2nd time. Pulling back on the bow, stimulating the lung meridian. Looking at the index fingers 3 times again for the last round. Drawing the bow. I hope you can feel that, because I can certainly feel my lungs energized. And if you're having respiratory distress, this is excellent exercise. So that was drawing the bow. That energy lung stimulation is probably central to what we will need during the time of this pandemic. If you're building your immune system, staying alert, washing your hands, wearing your mask, you also want to stimulate and strengthen the lung area so that any kinds of attacks are easier to weather, to stand, to withstand. Now we're going to be going into bringing the sea to the top of Kilimanjaro. So we're going to take our hands down, sweeping down across the sea and back up through the lung area, bringing them up to the Mount Kilimanjaro level. I want to just do that 3 times. On the 2nd time, I'm going to go back just a little more. I'm pulling the lung area as I go back in this movement. Stimulating the lung meridian again. Then down again for the 3rd time. I'm pulling the energy up and falling back, or reaching back as far as you can. Holding it there for a second. And then I'm going to be connecting my hands with the nape of my neck. Connecting my fingers. And then as I pull the energy around to the left, You feel that energy pulling through the lung meridian? I'm exercising my lungs as I stretch my lungs, going to the right and to the left, pulling your lungs out, stretching them, exercising the lung meridian. Elbows are together, and we're going to be lifting our heels off the ground, going down to the ground as we bend our knees, lifting our heels off the ground, using your elbows to balance, holding it there for a second, and pressing your heels back to the floor, to the ground, pushing yourself up. We're going to be pushing the energy up to the center, stimulating that lung meridian to the center, over to the left, to the right. I apologize for that. Stimulating the lungs to the center again, and to the left, back to the center, pushing the energy up and clearing the chakras coming down. So those are stimulating lung meridian movements that we need daily, especially if you're having some challenges with respiratory issues, if you have asthma, if you're dealing with any kinds of rheumatoid issues. I believe allergies are one of the root things that I use Tai Chi to address. So we're stimulating this area, get the strength that we need. I wanted to do one more to the other side, so I think we just did, and we finished that movement. That was bringing the seed to top of Kilimanjaro. So that movement we finished. The next movement is going to be where water and fire meet. We call this water and fire meet. All the way down, we're going to be stimulating in circular motion the water from our ankles all the way up to the heart. The fire is the heart. So water and fire meet. You want to go down with me and bring that energy up and bringing the energy up through the middle energy center to the heart. That bending over is stimulating for the lung meridian. Your backs of your hands are together, and then you want to push the energy out. Holding your hands like a bird's wing. Holding it for a second, bringing the energy back in. Backs of your hands together, and you want to just rotate the elbows, drawing 3 O's with your elbows 3 times to the front. Stimulating the lung meridian 3 times to the back as you draw those O's. All of these movements stretch 3 times back on each side. All of these movements stretch the lung area 3 times around the front. And we're stimulating, massaging our lung meridian with these movements every day. I don't realize that I had lung issues. You want to press your energy out a little bit and then press it out with your hands extended like a bird's wing. A little bit more, bringing it back in. I don't really think I had lung issues at that time, but I was getting relief for other pressures, and this stimulating lung meridian helped get me through some really trying times with caregiving, coordinating the caregivers for my mom and dad at the same time. They both were in long-term care situations. So the Tai Chi that I did was daily to address that. So the last movement, we went all the way out, up on our toes, pushing the energy out, and then we brought it back in. I didn't elaborate. That was part of the water and fire move. So we brought the energy up to the heart, to the lung center, and our lung meridian benefits from that energy that we created. This static energy is equivalent to plugging yourself into a light socket. We don't realize that the generated energy around us is something we can store up and use for our health benefits. So Tai Chi really has a lot of benefits. So I have done some lung area movements. The next movement we would go into will be the Sleeping Lion Awakens. And the Sleeping Lion Awakens also, the Sleeping Lion, I'm going to turn the music off for a second. The background music keeps changing. The Sleeping Lion is also helpful with the lung meridian. All of these movements address the lungs because I'm breathing in and out and deeply exercising and exerting my lungs as I do these movements. So entirely, the Tai Chi, this stimulates the lung meridian as I pull down on my earlobe. And if you watch the earlier videos, you realize that we're using our thumb and forefinger together. You place them on your knees, crouching down in this position called the Sleeping Lion. You're pulling down on your earlobes as though you were pulling on your earlobes, and then you're coming back up. So that movement, one other movement that you're going to be doing in this position is bringing your ear to the wrist, pulling that lung area, stretching that lung area out is powerful. If you can't feel that, I sure can. And I feel the strengthening of my lungs the more I do this. I have an allergy to alcohol. If I drink alcohol, if I use rubbing alcohol, if I smell alcohol. And it just has a tendency to shut my lungs down. And then I'm coughing, and that feels like I just had a breath of menthol go through my body to pull my lungs together and help my breathing. So that Sleeping Lion position certainly addresses that lung meridian. And the next movement, we do is the dolphin's fins tap the water. The dolphin's fins will be, after you do this created energy, you create this energy and circular motion, the static energy that you create 11 times. So we'll count configurations and counting paramount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the 11th time, we're going to put our backs of our hands together, and we're going to fling out, stimulating that lung out, that acupressure lung stimulant with that fling out. Bring your hands back in and do that 3 times circular motion. 2. Then press your backs of your hands together again, and out, that acupressure, out, stimulating that lung meridian. Down. Again, stimulating the meridian. With that acupressure maybe. 3 times again. The 3rd time, bringing the hands together. And if you remember, your arms and your feet fling out. Your feet fling out at the same time. So your arms and feet are like dolphins. Tap the water. And you bring your feet in and your hands back. So that was the dolphins and cat, the water. When you want to do the exercises separately, you can. I just like to move from one to the next and get it all. So we're going to do the last movement. Well, there are 2 more movements. This next movement stimulates the brain stem. So our hand is on the right hand on solar plexus, the middle energy center section, and the left hand is on top. We're just going to be raising our heels off the ground and bouncing down to stimulate the spinal cord. African thinking. This is movement. African thinking, thought, and process. Marimba, I mean, voodoo, but African thought and process. So we want to try to remember to do the stimulation when we're studying, reading, and have a big test or a big speech. If you are nervous and want to relax, just do that kind of movement, that exercise. When we finish that movement, our last movement, we're going to be rotating 3 times to the right, no, 4 times to the right, and then 4 times to the left. I'm pulling that energy in, and when we go, that stimulant is the lung stimulant. That part that I said, that emphasis that you do, that's so important, stimulates the lung meridian. And then you can feel it when you expectorate a cough is to, clean out the lung center. So, is only pushing on that lung meridian. Alright, so we're going to do the last movement. And when we do that last movement, we're going to be going 4 times to this side. I believe my circular motions are going to be going to the left first, and then to the right first, and second, and after the second, right and then left for our last movement. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 4 steps, 3, 4, and then on the 5th time, when we go up, put our arms around, and come back down with that sound, that's stimulating the lung expectorant. So we're stimulating the lung meridian. We're going to the other direction, to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're breathing too when you go around. 5. You're stimulating. And then the 5th time, stimulates the lung meridian to the chakra. Pulling the energy back as we do the return to chi. Also stretching my lung area out toward the back as far as I can get my arms stretched back to pull that energy that we just created in that big circle, hugging the tree. And when we're hugging the tree, we're stimulating the lung meridian. We're hugging that energy into the middle energy center, into the lung meridian. We're going to be storing energy so that when we move from this point of the day into the next point until we do our Tai Chi again, we still have the energy stored up. So we're putting our hands around the tree, hugging my ancestors. I like putting my mom and dad, and then pull this energy in Bringing energy down to the middle energy center and storing it here. I just like packing the energy. Just storing energy. And then the excess energy you are pushing and just rooting yourself to the ground. Rooted and grounded in your Tai Chi movement for the entire rest of your day, your week, your time, until you come back to do Tai Chi again. Repeated Tai Chi sessions have pushed me through exams for degree work and thesis and grads. I've done it all. It's helped me through just a variety, a myriad of different experiences as I've aged. And I don't know if you all can see I was aging, but it's aging. All right, people. Thank you for joining us for another Tai Chi session. This one was a little longer, but I thought necessary. We needed to know our part, our responsibility to strengthen that lung meridian through any time, but especially throughout this pandemic. You all be safe, stay blessed, and peace. Sankofa Community College appreciates your attendance and your interest.